Chris, how impressive were those Clippers last night?
I think they're so impressive that Shannon Sharpe is seriously considering changing his pick. I think he'd like to, but I think he has to save face and stay with the Lakers. But the Clippers look good. And the thing is, Skip, I agree with Doc Rivers. I think they're still only in that 6-7 range. And the fact is, will they even get to a 10? Because they do keep having guys in and out of the lineup. And Montrezl Harrell, we know he's really been, messed up by the death in his family. So what will he be like when he comes back mentally? But all of that said, they still look great because they have so much depth. And yesterday obviously was a close game with Dallas. But when it was time to win in the fourth quarter, the Clippers just put the clamps on them. Went on a 19-7 run midway through the fourth quarter to take over the game. And when you hold down Dallas, that means something. I get it. Dallas is young. They do have some trouble closing out games, but they still are the number one ranked offense in the league in terms of offensive rating. So when you shut them down, you're accomplishing something. And that's exactly what the Clippers did. And as Doc said, that's without Patrick Beverley. That's without Montrezl Harrell. And that's with Lou Williams, who I know isn't a defensive player, but that's with him clearly not in shape. You can see that Lou is not himself yet. So he'll be back in form in a few weeks, I guess. But what I like too, Skip, is that Marcus Morris seems to be understanding his role now.
Agreed.
Remember when he first joined the Clippers, he was shooting way too much. It was like, he had played for bad teams a lot and just been able to shoot whenever he wanted, or even in ball. Yeah. So he now seems to understand his role. He's shooting a little bit less, but he's hitting more. And he shot 15 for 24 of the last few games. He's averaged 16 points in the last two games, 16 in each of the last two games. So I think with him starting to kind of find himself in L.A., that just makes them even better.
And I think Shannon Sharpe is horrified by what he saw last night.
Well, if you tell me they're going to shoot, they're going to shoot like they shot. What did they shoot? 54% from the
45.
field, 45 from the three-point line. They're going to have 3 turnovers. You're going to tell me they're going to 6 turnovers. You tell me that? Okay, yeah, they're going to be unbelievable. But all I know is I saw Porzingis go get. Hold on, what did Porzingis get? Porzingis got 30 and 9. Who's better, Porzingis or AD?
Well, wait. Last night I was trying to decide who's better, Porzingis or Big Zoo. Big Zoo goes for 21 and 15.
Skip, I get it. You guys had an unbelievable game against a team that really does not play defense. Zubac was perfect from the floor, 21 and 15. Marcus Morris, as you mentioned, this is the first. You talk about the last 2 games, but what did he do in the previous 25 games, Chris? Exactly, that's what I was saying.
Well, he was finding his footing.
I want him to keep doing what he was doing, keep jacking up shots all over the place. Look, this game was tied late in the ball game with 6:30 left. We're tied at 1-1. And the Clippers go on a 25-10 run.
Because that man, Kawhi Leonard, he is the man.
Kawhi Leonard shot less than 50% from the floor. Now, if you want to talk about he hits a timely 3 and a timely 2, you never do that for LeBron, though. LeBron, you notice that, Chris Broussard? Everybody hit timely shots.
I always
My guy hit the game winner against your guy. You talking about that was the worst shot ever? No, but he missed it so bad.
Worst shot ever. Look what I found. Are you going to gloat about it? Are you going to take any credit for that?
Yeah. The Mavs are not a threat. The Mavs have never been a threat to win a title or challenge anybody for a title this year. They have 2 phenomenal players. They need a third player, and that's fine and good. I mean, hey, the Clippers are good. The Clippers are what they are. But we can look. We'll deal with you guys down the road. You're gonna have to deal with AD. You're gonna have to deal with Bron. And when it's all said and done, I'm going to have that. See that look you got on your face right now? You're going to say, hey, that was a bad call. You look like Chris. Your day is coming. Your day is coming. I want my cases too.
I'm going to close the case right here. By the way, did you see the air ball Lucas shot from 3 last night in the third quarter? I was like, what? What are you doing?
Dropped 29 on
Next Larry Bird? Are you kidding me?
Stop.
I think Pop is more right than you are. I'll take Jokic comparing him to Larry Bird over Luka. I mean, Jokic can just do it all with authority, with size, stature. Okay, back to the Clippers. Look, there are nights when I say, look what they could be And they still are. They can't lose for winning because everything seems to be going wrong. Pat Bev's got a pulled calf muscle right now. I don't know what's happened to Montrez. Chris said, he's grieving. We get it, but we're getting close. We're only about a week away from the playoffs. So I don't know. Is he going to be able to come back? How long will he have to quarantine? How long will it take him to get in some semblance of shape? It's looking like advantaged Lakers because he is the beast of the bench, man. Him and Lou, when they come in, they just wreak havoc. Lou's not in shape yet. And yet last night, when it was time in the fourth quarter, as Chris pointed out, Marcus Morris just stepped up and made all 3 shots in the fourth quarter and made 2 big threes.
Yep.
And Kawhi said, no, that's enough of this. And Paul George said, that's enough of this. And Charles Barkley said on Inside the NBA after the game, one thing about Kawhi and Paul George, they're not afraid of LeBron James, and either or can guard LeBron James.
No, take that back. Paul George has really never beaten LeBron James in a meaningful moment.
But with Kawhi, he's not afraid.
Of course not.
Of
course not. I was never afraid walking to anybody with my big brother because I know he had things. I mean, he got big brother Kawhi. He shouldn't be afraid.
Yeah, I'll agree with that comparison. Kawhi, Paul George to Shannon and Sterling. I'll buy that. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'll take that. Thank you.
I do think Paul George is in a comfortable role as the second guy.
Yep.
And he gets confidence from Kawhi being that number one guy. But I will say this, too, about George. And Shannon, you have to admit, he never beat LeBron. But when he was in Indiana and LeBron was in Miami, George didn't have anything close to a big 3. He had Lance Stevenson and George Hill and Roy Hibbert. And they used to give that Miami team some trouble.
Right.
They did.
So I think Paul, he looks like a different player. His 3-point shot is better than ever. And he's healthy for the first time in a while. So I do think, I think the Clippers have so much depth. And this is even allowing guys like JaMychal Green, who we'll see how much they play in the playoffs, but he's even starting to get a rhythm.
Yep.
He's even starting to get comfortable out there. So they've got depth could be interesting because, you only want to go 8 or 9 deep. Yeah, so what is Doc going to do? Somebody's not going to be playing.
That is correct.
But that's a good problem to have.
You know what? When I look at Paul George, and I thought Paul George was a phenomenal player, but Skip, when he broke his leg at the USA tryouts, I did not believe he was going to be able to come back and be what he was. He's better. He's a better player after breaking his leg than he was before. If you can believe that, Skip. He's been unbelievable because, like you said, in his secondary role, because that's what he was in OKC, he finished 3rd in MVP voting. So he's really comfortable. And I think, him wanting to come back home and be in L.A., playing for the Clippers, he's getting a lot of shine. But Kawhi didn't shoot the ball particularly well, but when they needed big shots, he hit that 3, puts them up 5. He hits that mid-range shots that puts him up 12, that basically ends the game. So it's not so much that he's a high percentage shooter, although he can. It's just that the timely shots that he makes is that back-breaking 3. You're like, okay, we tied. And then he pulls up and hits a step-back 3. Oh, yeah, here we go. We're about to make a run. And then he hit a turnaround mid-range. So he's been when he plays, he finds different ways to impact the game, whether he gets a timely steal, he blocks a shot. But his mid-range and his 3-point game has been on point when it needed to be.
So Doc said after the game last night that he has counted only 3 practices this whole year in which they were at full strength, full roster in a practice. Well, that's huge advantage.
Ain't
Lakers.
nobody practicing.
Oh,
Chris, ain't nobody
it.
practicing. Once you break training camp, everybody just doing shoot-arounds. Ain't nobody practicing.
But wait a second. The Lakers don't even do shoot-arounds.
This ain't got nothing to do with the Lakers. Why are you always trying to drag them into your mess?
Maybe that's why they're shooting 4% from 3. They don't shoot around, right? Shoot around, LeBron. Maybe you should get your butt up out of bed. Go shoot around.
He was growing. His growing messed up. He's growing. He got a little growing injury.
Yeah. Phantom groin injury.
It continues. Chris, always nice to check in with you, and I'm sure we'll touch base next week. Have a good weekend.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.